I just want to emphasize the thing that always strikes me, having worked on this issue for many years. We are in the wealthiest country in the nation. We spend hours arguing whether or not people deserve food. That's why we're here again today. This was the argument that held up the debt limit. We're now talking about doing even more in the Farm Bill, and I am fully opposed to doing any more in this Farm Bill that would restrict people's access to healthy foods. I represent a very small rural state, one of the most rural states in the nation of only 1.3 million people, yet 23,000 households are on SNAP in my district every month. Statewide, we have 145,000 members, including more than 46,000 children who need access from SNAP. It's critical given the fact that Maine has the highest rate of childhood food insecurity in New England. We are talking about ways to cut SNAP, but it is becoming even more of a lifeline as families feel the impact of inflation and higher food costs, which disproportionately affect those people with lower incomes. The share of American adults who reported being in a worse financial position in 2022 than during the previous year rose to 35%, with inflation being the financial burden cited by most respondents, according to the Federal Reserve. Now, again, we're talking about constraining this program. We're talking about trying to require more people to be working and acting as if it is the constraint of the program. The fact is, there are not enough child care slots for people. There isn't adequate housing. There isn't always adequate transportation in rural areas. Those are all constraints on working, and we treat it as if it's somehow the product of SNAP. I hear my constituents talk about these concerns every day: food, gas, housing, and how that contributes to their inability to buy food. And we also talk as if we've forgotten that this situation that was, I grant you, getting better, it's been getting worse since we had the pandemic, supply chain shortages, the war with Russia and Ukraine, all things that have driven up food prices and made it that much more difficult to provide a healthy meal for $2 a meal, $6 a day, as we've been talking about. And I appreciate the testimony. Dr. Rashida, you talked a lot about the constraints of SNAP for people's ability to get a job, but I disagree. I believe it's outside factors that makes it very difficult. It's also not people's bad choices necessarily on what they put in front of their food. I agree people need more healthy food, but it's very hard to provide food on $6 a day per person. A gallon of milk is nearly $5. We want to see people eating more fresh fruits, fresh vegetables, healthy proteins, which is why we should be talking more today about the GusNIP program, about produce prescriptions, about all the things that we could do to get more healthy food on the table. The other thing that I find really distressing about today is we're talking about making more cuts, more restrictions. Well, when 170,000 Mainers lost SNAP emergency allotments in March, $17 million a month was drained from our state's economy and taken away from hungry families. We've already made severe cuts. People are already reeling for what we have done, and now we want to talk about doing more. We also are going to talk about the impact that it has on our rural economies. During economic downturns, every $1 in new SNAP benefits generates $1.50 in economic activity. And we've heard people talking about how difficult it is in a rural community to get access to healthy food and how important that return is to our community. I recently met with Good Shepherd, one of our state's largest food banks, They're sending me photos of empty pantry shelves. USDA trucks carrying 900 cases of milk to Good Shepherd pantry partners used to take 48 hours to distribute. That's what they told me. Now the demand is so high that offloading cases takes under 3 hours. Preble Street Food Security Hub in South Portland is seeing a 100% increase in demand from March 2023 back to 2022. They are providing 800 boxes a month compared to 400 in March of 2022 and previous months. Clearly, I'm going to use up all of my time ranting about this, but the fact is, we're here today to talk about making more cuts, to making it more restrictive, to making it more difficult, and I can't say it enough. This is the wealthiest country in the world. We have plenty of policy to worry about. We have plenty to debate, but it should not be whether or not people can put food on the table. I yield back.